I'd like to recognize Elder Saila, who is going to be lighting the Kuujjuaq and keeping the Kuujjuaq lit this morning. Also, all the new leadership here at the table, both on the government side and on the Inuit leadership side. Welcome. I'm sure that you will find this to be a very productive and dynamic space. I'd like to welcome the Prime Minister and other ministers back to the Inuit-Crown Partnership Committee table. ICPC is unique globally as a bright spot and model for nation-state diplomacy and cooperation with Indigenous peoples. No other state government maintains a similar body or forum between elected decision makers and an Indigenous people focused on resolving mutually identified challenges through structured work. We do not take Canada's leadership or partnership for granted in engaging with Inuit through ICPC and are proud of the work we have been able to advance during the last 9 years. ICPC is also an asset for Canada and for all Canadians. At a time of renewed geopolitical focus on the Arctic region, ICPC stands alone as the only bilateral mechanism coordinating work between an Arctic state and an Indigenous people within its Arctic territory. Inuit are the foremost experts on the Arctic. We know our lands, waters, environment, and communities best. Our treaties with the Crown provide legal certainty and a legal framework for working together in a unique way that is something that we must foster in this space. Canada is positioned well to build on this strong foundation of knowledge and expertise to advance an Arctic policy informed by the people who live here. We stand with Canada as proud Canadians. But as in any working relationship, there's always room for improvement, and today we will be discussing potential solutions for improved coordination between Inuit and the federal government on Arctic security and defense. We also will be working on items such as affordability, the Inuit Child First Initiative, and international issues, and many other items. When we were established in 2017, this mechanism was created under a simple premise, that the Canadian government would always have priorities. Inuit leadership would always have priorities. And we could come together in this space, identify shared priorities, and create work plans and accountability to get things done. We feel like this is a moment in time where we do need to work together, and we need to do work in a way that protects our interests in our homeland, but also Canada's interests globally. We are committed to this space, and we are very thankful for the leadership that Canada has shown to work in its constructive arrangements with Inuit. With that, I'd like to pass the floor to Prime Minister Carney.
Bonjour. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, President Obed. Thank you, dear Peter, President Natami, for your welcome, for your leadership, leaders of Inuit, Nunagat, dear friends, members of the Cabinet, one of the largest Cabinet delegations to come to ICPC. I think it is the largest in Inuit Nunagat. Underscores how vital this table is. Not just how vital today's meeting is, but how vital the work that we will carry forward from today's discussions. I would like to thank and welcome also my dear colleague, Laurie Idlo, our MP for Nunavut, on whose counsel I greatly rely, and I'm very grateful for your presence and continuing support. And also acknowledge Ambassador Virginia Mearns, whose diplomatic mandate this table has been developing and others have been developing, and whose efforts will bring Inuit voices to strengthen inclusive and strategic cooperation across the entire Arctic. Now, it's been just under a year since I attended my first ICPC meeting in Inuvik. Et au cours de cette réunion, nous avons défini un programme commun. À quoi ressemble une consultation véritable dans le contexte inuit et comment nous pouvons travailler ensemble efficacement pour favoriser la prospérité économique et la justice. Now, over the past year, we have made some significant progress, but we've also discovered areas where we can deepen cooperation. And we have a number of pressing immediate issues that we will address today. But I want to take a few moments to highlight some of the things that have happened and where some of the opportunities lie. The first, I look to Minister McGuinty. Canada, for the first time since the fall of the Berlin Wall, has met our NATO defense spending targets, 2%, and we're taking full responsibility for our security and sovereignty in the Arctic. Now, we can only do that in true partnership with you. 4 days after I was sworn in as Prime Minister, I was in Iqaluit to announce that the CAF, our armed forces, would establish a year-round presence on land, sea, and air in the Arctic. Those patrols have begun, including with Operation Nanook to safeguard our sovereignty. We are in the process of undertaking the largest increase in defense spending in our lifetimes. Much of it will be in infrastructure, equipment, and hardware needed to defend the Arctic. What's crucial, and we can only realize together, is that this creates tremendous opportunity for infrastructure in health, in broadband, in community infrastructure, wastewater, beyond. And we can only develop those in tandem so that all benefit. Our plan is backed by more than $40 billion of investments to upgrade infrastructure, including airports, the Inuvik Airport, runways at Rankin. But this is your homeland. Let's be clear. This is your homeland. You are the rights holders. And we need and will embed Inuit perspectives and knowledge in our approach and partner with your businesses. I think we'll discuss this in a moment, but the opportunities are unique in terms of partnership and procurement in Inuit Nunagat. It's a different order of magnitude than it would be elsewhere in the country. And as well, we need to be conscious of the challenges that the scale of this type of investment can bring in terms of drawing on civilian resources, capacity for logistics, and make sure that we are scaling in a way that all benefit. Secondly, we'll have an opportunity towards the end of the session to discuss some of the most relevant nation-building projects, which include, and these are projects that have come from this table. In fact, I remember, President Obed, the first time we met, the stress on some of these, particularly on Grays Bay Road and Port. We heard when we were in Inuvik a little less than a year ago the importance of Mackenzie Valley Highway, the importance of developing clean energy sources such as the Nikik-Sotit Hydro project, but ensuring that all of these are done in a way that benefit the communities. We're also we will turn in a moment to immediate issues, the housing crisis, and this is the right word, the housing crisis, recognizing that the majority of the population lives in overcrowded homes. We've made a start with housing strategy, made a start with Build Canada Homes work with NTI, as well as the government of Nunavut for 750 homes. But we need to modernize our partnerships. We need to update our partnerships across housing, affordability, and to provide accessible, high-quality education. You rightly mentioned the Inuit Child First initiative. I want to salute Minister Galmasti for many things, but also for her leadership in the short term to ensure the extension of funding, the $115 million extension of funding, but for co-developing a long-term framework so that we provide vital education and health services to Inuit children. Again, from this table and the leadership of this table, the federal government made a commitment in the last budget for a $50 million investment to the development of Inuit Nunagat University, our first Inuit-led university which will be based in Arviat, Nunavut, intended to open at the end of this decade, serving hundreds of students, 80 faculty and staff, on-site housing. I want to congratulate ITK for your leadership in this effort, but we need to move beyond the infrastructure component. There's issues of governance, authorization, as well as a durable long-term funding model. Back to more immediate priorities. We are backing, and we will discuss the effectiveness of this and the next steps on this. We're backing Inuit-led approaches to eliminate tuberculosis, prevent TB, and to accelerate diagnosis and treatment. Again, an area, it's not the sole answer, where we can leverage the resources that we're putting in elsewhere. The reform of Nutrition North, realizing the full benefits of our food security strategy. So again, updating and adjusting subsidies, but truly looking and implementing a systems-led approach. And again, respecting the food systems here, the harvest systems here, and getting full benefit. I think it gives you a sense of just the scale of the opportunity, as I mentioned, but the consistency and the imperative of working together in partnership. Multifaceted approach, interconnected approach, recognizing that our security, our sovereignty, our prosperity and well-being are all aligned. So just to conclude, on a fait beaucoup de progrès. We have made much progress in the past year, mais on a appris beaucoup de leçons. We've also learned many lessons, and those lessons drive towards deeper partnership, systems-led reform, Inuit systems-led reform. We're going to discuss those in more detail, but we've started as we mean to go on, with ambition, in partnership, and with a sense of urgency that the moment demands. With that, Nakamik, and I will hand back to you, President Obed. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Nakamik, Prime Minister. We'll just take a moment now for the assembled media to leave the room, and then we'll start the meeting. And thank you to the assembled media for being here.